Ah, Glowworm, the one and only ship that decided to take a different twist on combat and can live to tell the tale. Now normally I'd have some good footage of her doing her usual routine, but, well, she recently had some issues with a certain aircraft carrier. But, hey, things resolved itself. Let's just roll the footage. Alright, now we're moving on to our one and only head smasher destroyer, HMS Glowworm. Glowworm takes a very unique stance in any engagements, but the real question is whether or not that twist will make her worthwhile. With all the many destroyers in existence in the game, is she the better option? Is it possible that she's even better than our infamous starter girls? Well, let's dive right in. Just, make sure you wear a helmet. Starting off stat-wise, Glowworm has roughly an average health pool compared to her royal counterparts, but seems to be a tad bit lower than average if we look at all destroyers.
This combined with her light armor means that caution should be taken against enemies using HE guns.
Her evasion seems also to be about on par for her royal counterparts, but in this case it's actually better than other destroyers from other factions. So her survivability might be rough due to her health pool, but it could be saved a bit by her own evasion. Lastly, her anti-air is about average compared to all destroyers overall. Now, destroyers aren't really known for their anti-air capabilities, so we honestly should be relying on our own light cruisers for that kind of thing. Now, of course, we all know quite a few of them now, right? Nonetheless, she'll still take decent damage from plane-based attacks. On the offense side of things, Glowworm has an average firepower stat when compared against all other destroyers, so she's not going to shine in gun damage like a few other destroyers we've already gotten to know. Her torpedo stat is good, but won't outshine any of the Sakura Empire torpedo monsters we're also familiar with. Combine this with an average reload and she's got a pretty normal kit. Equipment-wise, her gun efficiencies don't stand out that much either. Her main gun efficiency sits at a little bit above average at 130%. This will allow for more damage from her gun, but the low firepower stat won't help too much on that. Now her barrage isn't bad, so it can definitely help out for sure in terms of damage. Now her torpedo efficiency seems about average, so her damage with torpedoes will be about that when compared to others. At her second limit break, she'll gain a torpedo preload and second torpedo set to use when ready to launch. Now likewise, her anti-air efficiency is also average. Sadly, it won't be a lot thanks to a low anti-air stat, so yikes. Now at level 120, we'll see some jumps to her stats that are nice additions. The minor bumps to reload, firepower, evasion, and anti-air are helpful and definitely appreciated. The jumps in health and torpedoes will definitely help her out a bit in terms of survivability and damage output, but still nothing that'll make her stand out. It's a bit sad that Glowworm doesn't really stand out stat-wise when compared to others. I mean, she won't be out DPSing any destroyers, nor will she really be outlasting any of them. However, a ship's viability is generally known to be based on what their actual skill sets are. With each destroyer we've seen so far, most of them have decent stats, but their skills are also what complement them to be powerful ship girls. So let's see what Glowworm can offer us skill-wise. Glowworm's first main skill is her unique skill called Meteor Slam. This skill makes it to where your Vanguard deals up to 100% extra ramming damage and takes up to 30% less damage from ramming. Now, ramming is an interesting aspect of Azur Lane. Aside from gun and torpedo damage, ships can deal additional damage to ships by ramming into them. While it can be reliable damage, it comes at the cost of inflicting damage to your own ships as well. While this skill does look to mitigate some of the damage taken by this, there are still some issues with ramming. You see, ramming requires you to put yourself in close proximity to enemy ships. The good bit is that not only will your ramming do some additional damage, but your weaponry will have an easier time connecting and dealing damage to your enemy as well. Unfortunately, your enemies will also have the same advantages for this close proximity. Now, Glowworm's low health pool could make this a serious risk, as she could be taken out quickly if her evasion doesn't help her into tanking those attacks. Glowworm's second skill is Emergency Maneuvers, which gives up to a 30% chance every 20 seconds to evade all enemy attacks for 6 seconds. While this can be a great skill to help with closing the distance or ignoring damage from weaponry when ramming, this skill, much like many other evade skills like this, does not negate ramming damage, so she'll still take all the damage Glowworm would take when ramming ships. The skill itself isn't bad, especially since it's less damage taken overall for 6 seconds, but the way Glowworm is played doesn't entirely help this particular skill to be fully effective. So in summary, Glowworm is an average destroyer that takes a unique twist with combat. While it may be historically fitting, her main skill isn't exactly effective to warrant her use in combat. Her unique role is in an area that really shouldn't be relied on. Now her second skill can help to allow her to close the distance and do some decent damage with her weaponry, but won't block damage dealt by ramming ships and utilizing her first skill. Her low health pool combined with the focus on ramming will require a lot of healing from healer ships just to keep her alive. Honestly, if I had to pick between boss or mob fleet, I'd probably say she's a mob fleet, but only because she could potentially survive fights there if you have enough healers. Yes, more than one, keeping her alive. Ramming a boss wouldn't be such a good idea since you'll put her at risk of whatever the boss can throw at her, while also having a better chance to hit Glowworm. So the real question now comes down to, why would you play her? Is she even worth using? Well, to the average player, no, she's not. However, there may be a small number of you, myself included, that use her from time to time. Why? Well, there's a few answers, and I can understand memes being one of them. For me, well, it's because she's so stupidly hilarious to play, and I love it. You know, have you ever seen those ships that just beeline straight for your backline and ram your flagship? They can be annoying, right? Well, what if I told you that they can't ram you if you ram them first? See, Glowworm's charm in this game is that she allows you to have fun doing something stupid and kinda getting away with it. I mean, you can even combine her with Charles Osborne for some seriously hilarious high-speed ramming. I don't use them all the time, but when I do, it's a good laugh for a few minutes. There is one specific Glowworm fleet build I have, but I'll save that for a separate video in the near future. Anyway, in all seriousness, Glowworm isn't really a character I can suggest for normal play. She has no major features that make her stand out, and her skills don't exactly play nice together. However, she can be a character that can give you a real good laugh for a short period of time. But outside of that, she's got no real use in PvP or PvE. It's a bit sad, but she's one of many characters that are in this exact same kind of scenario. Anyway, that'll be all for Glowworm. Hope you enjoyed this video and that it will help you in your future endeavors. I'm changing up the way I do videos from this point onward. I will still be putting up a video on the next character in the list, but I think I'm also going to randomly select a character from the list as well to do a review on. As for now, up next is Little Tanakaze herself. As for my random pick, that shall be my personal favorite ship, Repulse. So look forward to those videos when they come out in the near future. If you would like to see the list, the link is in the description below. Whether you are a regular viewer or a patron supporting the channel on Patreon, thank you for watching and I'll see you in the next video or livestream that I do. See you guys all again real soon.